Time for the 49ers Rush Podcast.
The first round pick rookie, Ricky Pearsall. I think he's going to be a really, really fun player. And I love watching him at a training camp. And, anytime I see 14 out there lined up anywhere, that's where my eyes go. Just trying to see how he kind of evolves into just what it means to be a 49er. Let's make no mistake. Being a wide receiver for the 49ers is probably one of the most difficult places to be a wide receiver in the NFL. The Shanahan system's so complex. We'll hear Ricky talk about that a little bit later. We'll hear Brock Purdy kind of mention some of those things as well. And, he's got the talent. He's got the, highlight reel catches. You go through just his workout, and it's just like, it's pretty impressive. Pretty impressive. Shout out to Josh, executive producer of today's show. So Ricky Pearsall comes in number 23 on our roster countdown this year. Wears jersey number 14, 6'1", 203. Nothing special there, but he's one of our taller wide receivers. And he's got like a very wide shoulder base. And he's got size to him, which you like. 30-inch arms, that's on the shorter side. But 23 years old, ran a 4.41 40-yard dash. Kid's a blazer. He can run. 10-yard split, 149. That's great. You talk about the three cone, 6.6. That's probably his best metric. That and his vertical, 42 inches. That's top 97 percentile. You see all those like circus catches jumping out of the gym. That's what you get with him. So a 6'1" guy that could have a 42-inch vertical, pretty special. 10'9" broad jump, top 88 percentile of wide receivers. Bench press, 17 reps, top 71 percentile. Now, the problem is when you look at these individually and you're just like, man, all these metrics in the top 80th percentile of wide receivers, that's incredible. So then you plug in those numbers into mock draftable, and the problem is you don't really get a lot of special talented guys that come off. Nate Burleson, Marvin Mims, those are probably the two most successful comps out of about 10 that mock draftable puts out. So not saying, if you had a Nate Burleson career, that would be kind of what you get at pick 31. I think you'd be happy with it, but Niners fans want more. I want more, and I think he can be more. But at the same time, I think we have to slow down our expectations for him, especially this year. He came in 23 for us. His highest rank was 22. His lowest was 26. Averaged out at 23 with the point scale that we, came up with. Part of me thinks, I don't know, the 49ers will redshirt rookies like nobody's business. And will that take place here with Ricky Pearsall? We'll see. Now, let's go with his journey to the NFL. Born and raised Chandler, Arizona. His father was a wide receiver kick returner in northern Arizona. His father was his football coach and the captain of the Phoenix Fire Department. Mother, Erin, she was a volleyball player at northern Arizona. So you got the athletes. That's awesome. And the pedigree and the mentality, all those things are there. Hard Knocks offseason with the Giants, they leaked out their draft board, not their rankings, but how they came off the board, like 1 through 260, whatever. And it had all of their demarcations on there. Red, medical, all their character risk people, all their injury risk people, and all their leaders, which they tagged blue. Well, Pearsall was one of those. And for the Giants, that's an all-around good leader, teammate, and person. So you're getting a character guy that was probably drafted a little earlier than he should have went based on the tape. But what you don't have to worry about with Pearsall is, man, great dude, leader, person. He's never missed a game. And so you're getting all those traits. You're getting the good person, good character guy. You're getting somebody that's available all the time, even though he's already had a hamstring issue, but it was, minor, all those things. So you're getting this really good kid that's played in multiple systems. He went to Arizona State and was actually teammates with Brandon Ayuk for 1 year. Played it with Jaden Daniels, then transfers to Florida, plays with Anthony Richardson, graduated from there in educational sciences, played for Coronadale High School in Arizona. Sorry, I missed that part. Nicknamed Slick Rick, which I like. And, he even played against Brock Purdy, in high school. He says, quote, I think he put 70 on my team, end quote. Yeah, that's kind of what Brock Purdy does, which is really, really, it was a 70-24 game. Pearsall's team lost that one. He was a high school quarterback as a read option guy for a while. He set the 6A Arizona State record in a game with 342 receiving yards, 14 catches, 5 touchdowns. That's one game. That's a game. His team wasn't very good, though. I think they won like 3 games the last 2 years. He was kind of like the go-to guy. Ran 11.02 in the 100-meter dash. Pretty solid. Not amazing, but pretty good. And, man, let's just add to the check marks that the 49ers love. 2023 SEC Academic Honor Roll. 2022 first year Academic Honor Roll. So back-to-back honor roll years. That's huge for the 49ers. Smart. Learned the playbook. Knows what's going on there. Very tough. You know, whenever you describe Ricky Pearsall, brave, tough, circus catch, relentless, all those things. One of the best route runners of the draft. The 3-cone is crazy. Good Senior Bowl. That's always important. And I think my biggest question mark for Ricky Pearsall, I have 2 just off the tape. And sadly, through training camp now, I could kind of validate that's still going to be an issue that he's going to have to overcome. One is verse physical corners and rerouting before the ball is thrown. He gets redirected way too easily. Way too easily. Now, he's tough and brave, and so like he'll go over the middle and get depleted, all those things. He's great at that. Like, he is fearless. But whenever he gets rerouted by a corner or a press corner, he struggles. Rock Ya-Sin has given him problems every single day in camp. Very physical corner. Like, that's an issue. The second issue, stretching the field over the top. We haven't seen that at all. The only time I have ever seen it, I went back and watched his high school tape. I went back and watched him at Arizona State for a few years, Florida for a few years, all those things. Never saw him just play against a press corner and fade over the top, beat him deep. You don't ever see that. Now, he runs a 4.41, so the metrics say he can. The only time on tape that I've ever seen him do that was at the Senior Bowl. Some one-on-ones, he got a couple guys, and he was going to get some good corners there. So you see it, and you're like, okay, this is something that we can project, not something you've seen in game tape. And a lot of it, too, is he was a slot guy. So he was a slot guy at Arizona State. He was a slot guy in high school. He was a slot guy in Florida. He got some outside snaps, but predominantly slot. So are the Niners going to use him there? We do 3 wide receiver sets. You going to take Juwan Jennings off the field? What are you going to do? And so we'll see. And, you know, probably, and I'll be honest with you, Ricky Pearsall's best day, depending on when you're listening to this, was August 4th. It was his best day in camp. And I've been to almost all the practices. Well, what was that day? No pads. It was no pads. So his best day was when the physicality was turned down. Now, obviously, he's growing. He's learning all these things, and there's lots of positives. But I am here to tell you right now, Pearsall is closer to fighting the backup roles right now. He's got to make the roster than he is a starting role. And that's even with Ayuk out and Debo out. Like, Ayuk and Debo didn't practice yesterday. He still wasn't getting work with the ones very much. He was rotating in. But if you set a depth chart right now, he's probably closer to wide receiver 5 or 6 than he is 3 or 4. Does that make sense? Now, I expect that to climb, and he's got to earn his right. And I think what he does in the preseason is going to be very paramount to what, you know, his playing time early on. But let's listen to let's go to Brock Purdy. Brock Purdy, what's your evaluation of Pearsall so far through camp?
Yeah, he's done a good job coming in, obviously learning the playbook, you know, coming to work every day. And so, you know, as a quarterback and really the whole team, you know, we always like young guys that can come in and they're willing to do, you know, the dirty work to learn and start from the ground up, and he's done that. He's done everything right. And so getting out in the field, being able to throw in the ball, and obviously seeing his hands, the way he moves, all of it, it's been good. So really excited to have.
And so, like, that's fun to see and fun to hear. And it's just, you know, hopefully this is just a slow trajectory upwards. That's what you want it to be. Now, some NFL scouts, some anonymous NFL scouts, The Athletic does this every year. So 2 different scouts were quoted on Pearsall. Quote, Pearsall is much like St. Brown at USC, Amon St. Brown, showing high-level receiving traits, lacking only vertical speed and explosiveness, end quote. Yeah, it goes along with what I've said. An AFC scout said, quote, "I don't know how fast he is, but he gets open and has has got great hands. Just needs an accurate quarterback," end quote. Well, you got that in spades. Maybe one of the most accurate quarterbacks in the NFL, even though it's a small sample size for Purdy. That's what he could do. And Niners fans, we all wanted offensive linemen to help Purdy. And I know that this episode is all about Ricky Pearsall, but Shanahan and Purdy and John Lynch said, look, the way to help Brock Purdy isn't to get a better pass protection. And one, I don't think that was available there at 31 with all the tackles going off the board. But instead, get him somebody that gets open quick. Give him a man beater. You go back to the Super Bowl, right? They're playing man coverage and blitzing like crazy. Give him somebody that's going to get open quick, horizontally, not so much vertically. And that's what Pearsall has in spades. It's what he is. 0 missed games in 5 years. Awesome. In 2022, he led the SEC in yards per reception at 20 yards per catch. That's 4th best in all of college football. Shanahan loves that stat. I can guarantee you that. High praise from C.J. Stroud. If you haven't seen the video, I can't play it here. They'll strike the video. C.J. Stroud said, quote, "Bro, he's elite. I wanted him bad," end quote, and literally slid off the couch whenever he saw the pick was made. He was so mad because he wanted him. Models his game after Ayuk, which they're friends. They played in college football over at Arizona State. We have so many Arizona State wide receivers. The only wide receiver to run a sub 6'7" 3-cone. Shanahan loves a 3-cone. Loves it. And he is shifty, man. Horizontal separation is kind of what he does. And he's just a fun player. Now, I had him ranked as a day 2 prospect. Late 2nd, early 3rd. Niners took him late 1st. That's what it is. The Niners do their own thing. It's just what they do. I had him at 8 out of 10 on 49ers Fit. I think he fits what we do. The physicality's not there, but the physical presence in his body say it could be. His blocking's been solid so far through camp. Not great, but solid. He's definitely got a little ways to go, but he's understanding what to do. Just yesterday at practice, there was an outside toss. He chipped down on the defensive end and worked to the linebacker. No pads, but you can tell he knows what to do. Go through his PFF grades. 77.2, good. All right, that's overall not bad. 77.8 receiving, good. 72.1 man, good. 82.2 zone, very good. 67.7 press, right? What have I said? His biggest issue is it gets physical corners. The PFF analytics and the film agree there. 54.7 run blocking. He's got to get better at that. Only had 2 drops all of last year, 50% catch rate. Had 11 punt returns, averaged 11.5 yards per punt return. He is one of the few that's back there. Ronnie Bell, Trent Taylor, Ricky Pearsall, those are kind of your 3 returners. Danny Gray's out there sometimes. So we'll kind of see what that looks like. He's picked 31st overall this year. No doubt about that. It was a shock to a lot of people, but it makes sense. It really does. We'll see how that goes. He's had some injuries, but he's played through them all. You'd love to see that. Signed a 4-year, $12.5 million deal, which that's kind of slated, with the way that looks at. But I want to go to Ricky Pearsall now and just talk about how he feels about camp and the playbook and joining the Niners.
Yeah, I think I've took big strides since I've got here. In the beginning, yes, it was a little difficult, coming into a offense like this that's very complex. There's a lot to it, and trying to, learn it all in one day is impossible. So I just kind of told myself that over and over again, and just, each day how I can get better and improve and, knowing the playbook. And I think that I've made a big strides to this point.
I will say he looks more and more comfortable every day. And so that's huge, especially whenever he missed the first 4 days, and then he came out the second segment with the hamstring, right? He looks the part, and it's going to take time. I think those preseason games are going to be as important for him as they are a lot of players on this team. He's going to be in the 53-man roster. He's a lock no matter what. How much are we going to see him? I don't think he's going to be punt returner early. I think that's going to be Trent Taylor. He's by far the best punt returner in practice, and I think they feel the most comfortable with him. But if you were to ask me, okay, it's week 11 or 12, who's the punt returner? It should be Ricky Pearsall. And he should start to rotate in. And he's playing multiple wide receiver spots. I think slot and Z is where he should be, that Ayuk role, that X, which is, in limbo right now, I think that's a tough ask for him his rookie year. You can put him out there, but you're asking him to address his greatest issues against the NFL best. Like, who you play in week 1, right? You're playing Sauce Gardner. And so, not that should affect where you play him, but his best spot is slot and Z. Those jet sweeps, all that stuff. He could do all that. Line up in the slot, he could do that. The motions, he knows the motions. He's down cold with those. But we'll see. Ricky Pearsall, fun player. And first half of the season, you got to taper expectations. Got to. Second half of the season, allow him to grow into that role because it's a luxury. The 49ers have so many great wide receivers. And so unless there's an injury or a crazy trade or something along that, he could slowly develop. We need him for the postseason and that depth whenever you're playing against those blitzes and all that stuff. So Ricky Pearsall, glad to have him. Picked way earlier than I would have thought, but it makes sense. It really does. It's a perfect fit. Can't wait to see this rookie get some actual playing time in a game, especially these preseason games. Going to be fun. But for us, we'll just keep counting them down.